couple people wanted me to talk about Scary Godmother, so I actually had a little bit of time between several jobs. I was able to check it out again. I remember watching it as a little kid because they played it every year on Cartoon Network for a while. It was something familiar, it was something I could actually quote a couple lines. And even if you were to ask me a few years later, there would have been maybe one or two lines I actually remembered, but I wouldn't have remembered the whole special. Looking at it as a kid, I enjoyed it. It was fun to watch. Looking at it as an adult, it's really, really awkward. But it's really hard to get angry at it. I can't hate it, but I will say it has not aged well. The animation, the weird thing about the animation is the designs, because you have the bigger kids who have these really beady eyes, and sometimes the pupils go in and out, and the heads are so big and the eyes are so beady that it looks like if they're further away they don't have eyes, versus Hannah, who has these big huge eyes, and same with the monsters. I personally like the backgrounds more than I like the character designs. And the backgrounds are really stylized and very interesting. They have these cool outlines, but the problem is they're so busy, the characters really get lost in the background, which is tough. There's not really a focus point, the camera work's really choppy. The dialogue with the older kids especially is very odd, very choppy. And I don't really know what it was going for. The jokes are not particularly well delivered. And I know I'm bashing a lot of it, and technically it is very strange and very, very awkward, but there is also a charm and an atmosphere to it, particularly when you get to the Scary Godmother's party. It's actually kind of fun. There is still a story and a through line that you can follow. You know, a little girl has to hang out with her older cousin and his friends. They really don't want her there. They try to get rid of her, but then she ends up in this amazing party where she has a great time, and the monsters end up befriending her and teach the older kids a lesson. It's a very simple story. And I liked the Scary Godmother herself because she was very nice. And I thought that she befriends, there's a kid vampire who's there, the vampire prince, and they actually have a bit of a cute flirtation. It's adorable. I remember even thinking that as a kid. I thought, oh, these two like each other. That's really cute. I will say, looking at it as an adult, the werewolf is definitely that friend who you can only take in small doses, because I swear to God, even though he's invited to the party, he's clearly making a mess of everything and annoying everybody. Looking at it as an adult, because the skeleton in the closet joke I certainly didn't pick up on. And I feel that the skeleton and the werewolf have a bit of a thing going, which I would not have picked up on as a kid. Clueless, would have gone over my head. It is kind of a shame because I do want to appreciate it more, but I am very, very distracted by the technical design of it, how the characters really get lost in the background, and the very choppy pacing, choppy editing. Again, no disrespect to anybody who worked on this, who I'm sure will find me eventually. I'd be really, really curious to see the making of this. If there's information out there, and there's Scary Godmother diehard fans, definitely let me know. I'd be curious to check that out. There's really not a ton I can say. If my channel were bigger and I made more money on Patreon, I probably would go through talking about different points. But this is going to be a general sum up. It's a cute story. It's really, really awkward. But there is charm and likability to it. It's Halloween season and it's nostalgic. I think I'm a little more fair on it. Part of it is the nostalgia goggles, because they did play it every year. I don't think I'm going to go out of my way to watch it. It is really interesting to see how things change from an adult's perspective. And this one, it's definitely more for kids than for adults. If I were to see it for the first time now, I certainly wouldn't get the same reaction out of it. I don't think I'd be nearly as forgiving. It's cheesy, but it's not my kind of cheese.